So our next guest, she has both operational experience in building a startup herself, but also in working with startups ever since. And she's global scaling advisor at German Accelerator. It's also somehow German ministerial funded institution that is supporting startups in internationalization processes. And I'm very happy to welcome Divotsna on stage now.
Hello, everyone. Too loud. Hi, I'm Divotsna. Thank you, Lisa, for the introduction. As she said, I'm from German Accelerator. Quickly, I'll explain that a little. Yes, it's an initiative by BMWK, and the idea is to help German startups to go international. But before I jump into the topic, we're going to talk more about internationalization for now. First thing, why am I talking about this topic with you guys? As she said, I'm a global scaling advisor. What do I do? On a daily basis, I talk to German startups, really try to understand what is their product, what they're building, and what are the markets where they can go, and eventually how can we support them. So basically talking to people like you and just listening and learning from them, that's what I do. When I ask about internationalization, or even if I ask you people, what is the feeling that comes to your mind when people say, hey, let's go to another market? These are some of the words that will come to your mind as well. It's difficult, Divo, it's too much effort. We have to invest a lot of money, time, and maybe we are not ready for it right now. And fair enough. I'm starting with some examples where internationalization has gone wrong. So let's say on a little bit negative note here. I'm sure all of you are aware of Uber, Starbucks, and Walmart. To keep it short, I'll directly jump into Walmart because I'm sure you all are aware of it. They tried to come to Germany as well. They have all the big pockets, all the bright Silicon Valley mind, and still somehow they failed in Germany. Why? They tried to do the very similar thing what they did in US. When they came to Germany, a similar structure. When you go to the store, somebody's standing there to wish you good morning or good evening. There's another person who is bagging your grocery. For Germans, that is something like, why is a new person wishing me standing there? And second, why are you bagging my grocery? It's my job, I can do it by myself. So a lot of cultural difference. They thought we know what is working in US will work in Germany as well. And on such a small topic, they were failing. Most importantly, they came to Germany thinking that they will not bring the employee union part to Germany as well. And I believe it's a very big topic in Germany, that the employee union is a must-have thing in the corporates. And they said, we will not have it. Eventually, that was the nail in their coffin. I believe they end up losing 1.2 billion, some similar structure, and they end up selling their business and move back to the US. Same in case of Starbucks, one more story. They went to Australia thinking, we are successful everywhere else. We could do that there as well. I come from India, have worked a little bit in Southeast Asia as well. Whenever we talk about Starbucks, people think it shows class, it shows I have big pockets and I'm rich. They thought the similar thing could work in there as well, but Australians are very serious about their coffee. The Starbucks coffee was just too sweet for them. They went with full power. They opened around 80 stores in the first 6 months, end up closing 60 out of them. Similar thing, just did not do their market research properly to see what does the local customer really want. So on such trivial things, such big corporates could fail. Reason, hence I'm telling here that as a startup where we have limited resources and limited time, and if we get some kind of support from government, from corporate, or from the ecosystem, we should welcome it with open hands. When should we go international? When I ask the startups, even to you guys, if I say, when do you think we should go international? Majority of startups will say, we are too young, we are too early, and it's not the right time for us. The reason is, the moment I say international or internationalization, that's the ideology that we follow, or most of us would say, hey, this is the right way to do it. I have an idea, I'm gonna build my startup, I'm gonna grow, show the traction and growth in my home market, have a little bit of stability, and then I'm going to go to the foreign market. Fair enough. Then we're talking about expansion. But the word I said was internationalization. The moment when I say internationalization, people jump onto scaling right away. Before a startup really scales, a lot of it happened before that. Internationalization, to start with, is just a mindset. That is something a startup or a founder with just an MVP could have, or a student who has an idea, even he could start with the mindset. So the idea to keep our mind open and think there's a market outside our home country, there are more resources, more help, and more opportunities. To get comfortable with that fact is the first step. And then second, exploration. For example, if I have a startup, I have an idea, I'm doing well in my home market, and I have a feeling based on some research or some ideology, okay, in another market, there is some scope of it. Rather me jumping right away into scaling, I'm going to do my research, going to talk to the local people, go to the ecosystem, and try to tap, does it really make sense? And then jump to the final scaling part, which is the execution, which the startup thinks right away I'm talking about. If I ask you guys why should a startup should go international, would you have any ideas? Would you want to say something on that? Yeah, very well. Agreed. Thank you. I didn't want to say it. Yes, when I talk about let's go to different market, the first reason is growth, as I say. Also, startups always think in a way that it's only to find clients or to find money and revenue. That is definitely one big part of it, but there's a couple of more reasons why a startup should think about internationalization or about other markets. Access to growing market. As you said, Germany is a bit slow. If you look at the economy right now, at the numbers, developed countries are struggling right now. But if you look at the developing countries, they are growing at the fastest pace possible. What does that show? If you really want to scale and grow, you have a bigger place there where you can grow faster. The growth which is happening in developed country is very slow at the moment. Second reason is help from other ecosystem. I'm going to give an example here. For example, a blockchain startup or a robotics drone startup I was talking 6 months ago. They told me, Divo, we've been struggling with the regulation for the longest time possible. Our MVP has not gone up from the ground. And we are thinking that it's just not going to work here. We don't have the capital anymore or time about it. Then they looked into Singapore. Singapore has something called sandboxes. So they provide this ecosystem and facility where you can test your product and your ideas with open regulation. So it's a safe environment, so you can test your product, build it, see how it works, and if everything works well, then you launch yourself to the market. But giving that safe space to the startup is what other foreign ecosystems are doing. So we can also look towards other countries to test our products. Even in egg, I was talking to one of the founders here as well, and I told them one startup went to South America with us. They were struggling to find clients or people to test their product here, and they end up finding test bodies in South America, and that's what they're doing right now. And their product is not even ready at the moment. Third, everyone's favorite, capital. The moment I talk about capital, US is the word that comes to our mind, but definitely going to foreign markets, this is one of the possibility. But of course, you just go to India or US and say, hey, I'm here for funding, that won't work. All the VCs, they look for traction in the home market first. So you really have to go show that what you are building works in their country as well. And eventually that opens doors, I would say. And fourth, mitigate risk and competition. So when I'm talking to startups, their favorite market is US. They think there's not much of cultural difference, we can handle US. But if I talk about Asia, everybody's like, it's too much, the cultural difference, the languages, we can't work. So fair enough, but that's the same ideology that most of the founders have. That means they are not trying to go there. So you have the chance to go first and see if you could grow faster than them. What do you need there? Support from the local ecosystem, and then definitely you could grow faster there. I'm not saying that the markets are not difficult, they are definitely difficult, but then there's support built for you guys in place to help you conquer that. When we talk about other markets, the most common thing I get to know in conferences and wherever I meet founders, they're like, Theo, I met this person from China in the conference, and he really liked my idea, and I think I'm just going to go there because somebody has shown interest into their product, and they're following the person and the lead. I'm like, fair enough, sometime it works, but have we done our research here? What's my competition in the market? What's my product market fit? How much growth can I have there? Those are the basic terms. You guys are more aware of it than me. But I would say it's such a human behavior. The moment somebody praises our product and say like, hey, I want to buy it, please come to my home country. The first instinct that I have a customer, I'm going to go right away. So we say that being opportunistic once in a while helps, but it's always better to be strategic about it. I don't know if you remember when I showed you the map of a life cycle of a startup. We have an idea, we build a startup, and we are stable, and then we expand. So when I talk to startups, one of the logic or let's say argument they give me is we want to be more stronger in our home market first, and after that we'll go somewhere else. So for that, I have my favorite, I would say, case study or example. There's a startup called Hydroneo. They are into smart aquaculture management. When the founders came up with the idea, they thought of Germany first, of course, and they started building their idea, and very quickly they realized that the scale and the growth they want is not possible here. They were open-minded enough to start looking into different markets right away. They joined one of German Accelerator's program, and they realized we should look into Southeast Asia. They didn't even know which country should we start in Southeast Asia with. They got connected. They spoke with local players in the market there, tried to understand, do we really have any kind of, I would say, potential in that market? The strategy they came up with the help of a local mentor was, Thailand is the right market, or to start with, easier market. And the strategy they could use is, Germany is known for their name in a way, it shows strength, it shows quality. So if something is German-built, and you go to Asia and say it's German-built, people will close their eyes and buy it. And that would work there as well. But other thing that you need there is trust, because the product you are building is for the people who are working in the farms. For them, they are also very, I would say, they need the trust. For them, it's a little difficult to believe into a foreign person right away. So the logic they used, let's take the strongness or strength of Germany and the trust from Thailand, and they built a Thai-German startup. So they bring on board a Thai co-founder as well, and the brand shows we have trust from Thailand, and we have, I would say, the strength from Germany. They grew very fast there. Right now, they have 3 offices in Southeast Asia, in Bangkok and Singapore, and one more city that I don't remember right now. And they are doing pretty well for themselves in Southeast Asia at the moment. Here are the pictures, but definitely you can read more about them over our website as well. This I will keep very short in just one sentence. How do we tackle this topic of any topic that we are working on for years or have studied a lot? We have this preconceived notion that I know the best. So even for startup founders, for you guys, you think it's my product, I know my market, I know my customer, I know my product. But the moment you're going to a new country, it's always advised to go with an open mind, thinking that I know nothing, and really try to understand what does this market about, what is my customer there. It's definitely very different, the customer we have in Germany versus in Asia. Mistake that Uber, Starbucks, and Walmart did. They think we know everything and we can handle it, eventually failed in some markets. So the only advice we give here is try to learn as much as you can from the local people and local players there. Peer-to-peer startup learning really work very well whenever startups think about foreign markets. To summarize it all, having the mindset of internationalization, it's never too late, never too early. Even if you're a 15-year-old company working just in DACH region, you can still think about internationalization and you can still think of other markets. Or if you're a 6-month-old startup, you can still start learning about the topic at least. Why, as I said, it's more than revenue and growth. It's about finding support and having a more global footprint, about where bigger isn't always better. You should always look into the market attractiveness, that just because, let's say, India is the biggest market in some terms, it might not work, and Thailand, which is a smaller market, would work better. And about how, as I said, keep an open mind and learn as much as from the local people. Now, because it's all about future farming, and you guys are the experts here, but I tried to bring in some points from the agri-tech startups we work with and the markets we work into. The numbers is something you guys know better than me. Future farming is not a luxury, it's something that we need. The kind of issues we are having, the kind of requirement the world has, something we need in the market right away, I would say that. So when we talk about future farming, what's with the adoption? Where are we right now? Europe is super fancy, very advanced, same for the US. But if you look at South America or Asian countries, you would see the adoption is not as much higher as the West right now. And what could be the possible reasons there? That we'll talk in a bit about. But even if you look at those numbers, where is the world leading right now or heading towards? If you look at South America, or if you look at India and Asia right now, the adoption rate is really high. People are literally looking for new solutions in agriculture and in that field to really help them grow faster, because they are actually struggling. And Germany specifically and Europe is known for innovation. So South America and other Asian countries are with open hand waiting, and they're open for new discussions and new ideas. I would say a year ago, there was a treaty signed between South America and Germany to start a new program to help German startups go to South America. The reason was we need innovation. So South America, Chile government specifically mentioned that, can you bring more innovative startups from Germany to our country? With that whole topic, we added a new program to our batch. Now, what are the markets that I would love to talk about for you guys today? Of course, versus South America, because I already mentioned it many times. There's a lot of interest first from the Chile, Brazil, and Argentina government. They are openly saying that if we can have more innovative startups in our region, they're having more flexible regulation in place. I would say a more safe ecosystem where they could help their startups to grow from you guys, to learn from you guys. These numbers you know better than me. I would say that South America or Latin America has, I would say, the third of world's spare farmland. So there's a lot of potential to grow. There's a lot of things to improve there. All they need is good ideas. I was very surprised, but the tech adoption is pretty high in South America. I was expecting it's going to be somewhere similar to Asia, but they are doing pretty well over there. Even in farmers. If you go to South America, one region that you would go, you have to go to the provinces, because that's where they are doing the farming and they need the solution. And the things we learn from our program, startup founders, they go there, they talk to them, they learn about it, and they're so open to learn about new tech. But what they don't believe is, again, buying a product online and using it, something they cannot wrap their head around till yet. So for them, it's very important to see the person and the company on the ground, and that's when they believe you. Plus, for them, relationship building is everything. Even if you have the best product in the world, but if you're not doing relationship building with them, they might not work. For them, knowing the person, having that rapport is way more important. Once that trust is built, whatever product you have, even if it has some glitches, they'll work with it. And the second market I would say is India. In India, 50% of the population works with agriculture. So it's a big chunk of our country that work in that sector. A lot is happening there at the moment when it comes to innovation. But are we lagging behind? Of course. There's one word in India called jugaad, that they're very good with quick fixes. But when it comes to building perfect products or something which is long-term, something we still look towards Germany for that. Hence, future farming products and ideas in Germany, which are more stable and strong, India is a potential market for you guys there. It could look scary, same for South America, too many languages. You might think there are 10,000 languages, which one do we need to speak? It's a British colony, don't worry, everybody speaks English there. In the schools, everybody speaks English. Yes, if you work with the farmers in the villages, that's when the game starts. But right now, even in the villages, people are becoming advanced and they are improving their languages and they speak in English, I would say that. But you will find partners who could help you with the same, and that's where we have programs for you in place. Just 2 examples of startups who went with us to South America. I would not get into the detail, just the interesting thing for me here is, so one is Corbiota, and second is Greenspin. 2 different products, different stage startup. One is, I would say, a mid-stage, have a very stable team in place, and one startup has a very early stage product, like I would say an MVP stage. Both went to South America. The one in MVP stage I was talking about, They went to South America hoping to find customers, but they were so surprised to find other institutions where they can actually test their product and then build it based on the requirement of the South American client, which is eventually what you need, building a product for the people you're trying to sell. In terms of Corbiota, they wanted partnerships and clients, and that's what they got. So, yeah. Now, why Start2 Group? I spoke about German Accelerator. That's a project that we run. But as a company, we are Start2 Group. We are a premier startup ecosystem. In a single sentence, we are the startup journey. That's what we say. We work with startups, we work with corporates, and we work with governments. We are across, I would say, 9 countries. Our whole aim is to really help startups to go international. From an MVP stage till expansion, all the stages that a startup goes through, we have different products to help them with. But the product I want to talk to you guys about is German Accelerator. A couple of big names that we work with, so you have more confidence in it. German Accelerator, as I said, it's a BMWK-funded program, and the idea is to help German startups go international. The markets we help with is the US, Asian countries, and South America. Depending on the stage of the startup and the product, we have different programs. But for South America and India, we have something called market discovery. What does this program do, and how can it help you? First thing first, based on your product, we find you a local mentor from the local country. For example, if you choose Brazil, somebody from your sector from Brazil would be your mentor. And when I say mentor, C-level people, management level people who are working in the industry. So they are going to work with you to first really find a product market fit, validate your product market fit, work on the strategy. What do you need to do to get into the South American market? What's your competition? Does your current business model fit there? If not, what kind of changes you need to make? And not just telling that, but even giving you the next steps and the strategy that eventually you could use. That's the one-on-one strategical support that you get from a local expert. Then there are workshops on topics like regulation, business development, compliances with respect to your product, so you can really be ready with all the operational know-hows that you need to know. And of course, the cultural difference, how to work with people over there, the language difference, the business and personal do's and don'ts. And third and most important, help with business development. So we try and connect you with up to 3 to 4 potential clients and customers. So you really get to present your product to them, try to sell and see how is the local client reacting to your product. You do travel to the country as well for a week or 2. That's when you meet the ecosystem, you do your client meetings in person, and you try to understand where do I fit in this market. At the end of 6 weeks, sometimes the answers could be no as well. That I really thought, for example, that Brazil is my market, but after spending 6 weeks of time, technically 40 hours, because we work with founders and we know you cannot sit in front of a laptop 9 to 5 just to learn about a market. So it's in a way that you run your startups and on the side you do it. But after that, sometimes the answer could be no, that I spoke with all the right people, I went to the country, and I thought this is the right market, but this is not. Or the answer could be yes sometimes. But at least then you have all the resources and all the connects that you need for that. And that's about it from my end, I would say. Thank you.